The story opens on a quiet classroom, where Hanjun Park sits alone at his desk, tuning out the useless chatter buzzing around him. He's got the kind of calm expression that only comes from years of learning how to disappear in plain sight. Then the door swings open, and Swagger walks in wearing human form. The room shifts as an overconfident student strolls inside, grinning like he owns the building. His crew swarms him instantly, showering him with praise. A girl asks about his latest sales, and the guy smirks like she should already know. He brags about raking in 48 million won last month. Yeah. Apparently inflation hit his ego. First, his friends cheer and demand a celebration, but the guy's smile fades. Without warning, he marches straight to Park's desk. He grabs Park by the hair and slams his head against the table once, twice like he's knocking on a door no one invited him to. The class goes silent. A few nervous students warn him to chill, or the teachers might get involved. The bully laughs, reminding everyone that a little bribe sends any teacher looking the other way. He keeps pounding on Park, convinced he's teaching a lesson. Park doesn't fight back. He sits there, silent, jaw tight, eyes colder than winter pavement. But the bully keeps poking him, unaware he's stepping on a landmine. Meanwhile, Park's mind drifts back to 2 years ago. Back when the whole country was buzzing about a notorious high school gang called Nexus. Back when Park, stupid or brave, stood alone against their leader, Chan-soo Kim. He defeated him. But victory didn't last. Nexus underlings filed false charges, drowning Park in fake evidence until he lost everything in court. His father sold his beloved gym to pay the settlement. Park swore never to use his fists again. His dad forgave him instantly, telling him not to cry, but the guilt never left. Park learned the hard way. When you're poor, justice is optional. The scene shifts to the walk home. 3 strangers recognize Park as that guy who fought Nexus. One bald, muscle-bound idiot steps forward, flashes a cheap ring, and drags Park into a side alley. Without even a reason, he starts beating Park senseless, mocking him for being weak. Park stays still, absorbing every hit. But when they insult his father, something dark flickers in Park's eyes, sharp enough to freeze the air. The bald thug's body locks up for a second, terrified by a stare alone. But Park backs down, apologizing, trying to keep his promise. The gang doesn't care. The bald guy snaps a wooden plank across Park's face, hitting him over and over until he's bored and ready to leave. That's when a new voice echoes through the alley. A man steps out of the shadows, calm, amused, dangerous. He asks if Park is really just going to sit there and take it. He already knows Park is broke. Without hesitation, he tosses a giant stack of cash onto the ground. Enough for a lawyer and enough to tempt any broken promise. He tells Park, if he wants revenge, he's got 3 minutes. The thugs notice the money. They return with greedy smiles, but Park stands up. The first punch he throws sends the bald leader crumpling like a folding chair. His lackeys freeze. Park turns to the stranger, gives a chilling grin, and says he only needs 4 seconds. Then he moves, fast, efficient. The thugs go down like dominoes in a hurricane. When it's over, the alley is quiet except for Park's steady breathing. The scene jumps to a tall building where Park now sits with the mysterious stranger. The man looks offended. Park doesn't recognize him. He shows his phone, revealing he's Junwoo Oh, the country's youngest self-made tycoon. A billionaire with too much money and not enough patience. Chae-yu explains that while Park suffered, Chan-soo Kim reinvented himself as a model student. A golden boy with a bright future. Junwoo calls it the biggest lie in the country, and he's determined to drag Chan-soo to absolute rock bottom. Money isn't a problem. Junwoo promises to cover everything Park lost from lawyer fees to rebuilding his father's gym. All he wants is Park's fists. And Park's willingness. Park hesitates, asking why Junwoo cares so much. Junwoo's expression shifts dark, private. He says Park will learn the reason in time. The next day, Park walks back into school with a new confidence. Inside the classroom, a Nexus lackey named Mogul is threatening students again, demanding they each spend $300 on his new merchandise line. His friends laugh while terrified students hand over their phones for inspection. Park steps forward. He asks Mogul if money is truly everything. His fist tightens. He already knows the answer. Everything people chase begins with money. That's the world he lives in. With a single punch, Park drops Mogul to the floor. The class gasps. Park stands over him, breathing steady, eyes resolute. He finally understands. In this world, money isn't just power. Money is the status people bow to. And this time, he's done knowing. The moment Mogul hits the floor, his mind snaps back to the first time he ever feared Park. He used to think he was unbeatable top dog of the school, king of cheap online merch. Then one day he saw Park fight and realized he wasn't looking at a student. He was looking at something closer to a wild animal wrapped in a uniform. But then Chansu Kim entered Park's life, crushed him through lawsuits, and stripped him of everything. That's when Mogul discovered the real power of money. He built his little online shop, bullied classmates into buying junk. And suddenly, he was successful. Park became nothing more than a declawed beast to him. Now, as Park slams his face into the wall again, Mogul is wondering why the universe hates him today. He scrambles, kicks, tries to defend himself, but Park gives him as much mercy as a vending machine, gives refunds. The class watches in stunned silence. Mogul tries to stand, but the look on Park's face freezes him mid-breath. Desperate, he squeaks for his friend to help, but the chubby sidekick pretends he's invisible. Honestly, that's probably the smartest thing he's done all semester. Humiliated, Mogul tries another angle. He whips out his phone, waving it as evidence, shouting that Park is broke and can't afford another case. Park answers by kicking him in the jaw hard enough to rattle the Wi-Fi password out of him. Bleeding, trembling, Mogul lunges for the door and stumbles into the hallway, mumbling survival prayers. Park follows with quiet, deadly intent. Mogul races through the hall, convincing himself he just needs backup, real backup. He bursts into the school gym and hides behind its biggest resident, Song, a hulking gym rat curling weights like they're made of foam. Mogul begs him for help. Song pauses mid-rep, thinks it over, and calmly demands 2 million won. Mogul agrees instantly. He's out of options. Song sets the weights down, apologizes politely, and steps forward. But before anything happens, Park opens his jacket and pulls out a fat stack of cash. He tells Song he doesn't need to get involved, and that straining his body might ruin his gains anyway. Song steps aside without a fight. No hesitation. Turns out loyalty is great, but money that pays for college is better. Mogul screeches in outrage, but Park grabs him by the collar and hurls him straight out the gym window. Mogul crashes onto the pavement right in front of a startled teacher. A moment later, both are dragged to the office. The teacher scolds Park relentlessly, bringing up the past, reminding him of his father's sacrifices. Mogul sits smugly, confident the universe is back on his side. Park snaps. He swings once, connecting with a thunderous, bone-shaking punch that sends Mogul flying out of the chair. The teacher shouts, grabbing Park's arm, but Park tears free and keeps pounding Mogul until the bully can't lift his head. Finally, the office door opens. A man steps in calm, neat suit, lawyer aura strong enough to lower the room's temperature. He tells Park that's enough. The teacher demands to know who he is. The man introduces himself as Byung-Gwan Kim, associate lawyer at KR Law. The teacher's face drains of color. He knows exactly what that means. And who sent him? Park asks how Junoo pulled this off, remembering how the principal practically worshipped this lawyer earlier that morning. The answer becomes clear quickly. Mogul is expelled on the spot. Junu later explains it casually like he's talking about grocery shopping. He found dirt on the principal, used it as leverage, and made the man tighten the noose around Mogul with no resistance. And that's just the beginning. Once the bully gets processed through juvenile court, the principal is next on the chopping block. Junoo isn't just helping Park, he's cleaning house. He turns to Park and asks if things feel lighter now, even a little. Park doesn't answer. His eyes say, "It's not enough." Junu smiles softly. He understands. Revenge this deep never settles quickly. He tells Park the truth. He's the one who should be grateful. Mogul can't sleep, can't think, can't stop replaying the humiliation Park handed him. By morning, his frustration hardens into something darker. Revenge. Real revenge. He walks across town until he reaches a dingy warehouse buried between rusted shipping containers. A cautious voice peeks through a metal door, asking who's there. Mogul steps forward, saying he's here to check the progress. The man inside grins and lets him in. And there, under flickering lights, Mogul sees a group of thugs smashing a familiar gym rat with metal bats. It's Song, the same guy Mogul tried to bribe yesterday. Song looks up, battered and bleeding, and finally realizes who betrayed him. Before he can speak, a bat cracks across his jaw, silencing him. The gang leader, Jin Song Hang, a towering brute with dead yellow eyes, orders his men to drag the trash away since the client has arrived. Song is hauled off like broken furniture. Jin Song turns to Mogul and raises an eyebrow. Why the personal visit? Mogul gulps and explains he has a new request. Jin Song laughs, patting him like a child, and asks how much we're talking. Mogul offers 10 million won. The yellow-haired lackey's eyes nearly pop out. He urges the boss to accept. Jin Song responds by smashing a bat across his own subordinate's skull, ordering him to shut up. He assumes Mogul wants a heavy target this time. A big fish? Mogul does. He wants Hanjun Park dead. The room freezes. Jin Song's smile disappears. He tells Mogul to leave no amount of money is worth fighting someone like Park. But then Mogul reveals he'll pay 10 million up front and another 10 after the job is done. Jin Song's grin returns instantly. Amazing how quickly morals evaporate when someone waves a bag of cash the size of a toddler. The deal is sealed. Meanwhile, across town, Junoo visits a house wrapped in police tape. He steps inside and greets the empty room softly, placing a small box of fried chicken on the dusty table. He apologizes for not visiting sooner. He picks up a drumstick and freezes. The smell reminds him of his father's cooking. The last time he tasted, it was 2 years ago. His expression darkens as something heavy sinks into his chest. Memories pour in, sharp and vivid. After a long moment of silence, he whispers a goodbye and stands. Outside, his lawyer waits with updates. Mogul is making moves again. The lawyer asks for orders. Junoo sighs and says he's tired of playing fair. The lawyer smiles. Unfair is his specialty. Night settles. Park's father receives a call from a prestigious gym offering him a well-paid trainer position. His eyes widen, and the moment he hangs up, he shouts with joy. He tells Park they might finally catch a break, maybe even get rich. Park watches his father's excitement and feels something warm twist in his chest. For once, things look hopeful. Morning comes. Park heads out for his workout. His father reminds him to return early. They're eating like kings tonight. Park smiles back, but halfway down the street, his phone rings. Junoo's voice is tense. Mogul is moving again. He hired a few runaway teens to ambush Park, but they shouldn't be too dangerous. Just call if things get ugly. Park calmly says there's no need. Junwoo pauses. Why? Park responds, because the wannabe gangsters are already here. A van screeches around the corner, charging straight at him. The engine roars. Tires scream. The vehicle is seconds away from erasing him. Park doesn't freeze. He doesn't run. He lowers his head and sprints straight toward the van, trying to minimize the impact. Metal slams into him and sends him tumbling across the pavement. The thugs climb out, laughing, calling him insane. Jin Song steps forward, impressed. He calls Park's move clever, the kind of thing only someone desperate or fearless would attempt. But when Park stands up slowly, painfully, eyes burning with fury, the laughter dies. He wipes the blood from his face. His fists clench. And tonight, somebody's going to regret ever waking up. Hanjun shakes off the blow, a thin line of blood already running from his head wound. Enraged, he is ready to end everyone right now. The hitmen, meanwhile, grab their assorted weapons and prepare to face the enraged target. Despite not fighting for ages, Jin Song realizes Park still possesses incredible strength and agility. But he holds on to a thread of hope. Park is injured. Suddenly, neighbors in the nearby apartment buildings begin to notice the commotion. The thugs smirk. Jin Song orders his men to pile back into the van, and they peel away. He shouts a taunt, hoping he gets to see Park again. Hanjun doesn't hesitate. He starts charging toward the speeding van at full sprint. The thugs inside laugh, thinking the injured kid is completely insane, but he proves them horribly wrong. He closes the distance in terrifying bursts. Park leaps onto the moving vehicle, smashing the side mirror instantly. He grabs one of the lackeys and throws him out of the van just as it speeds away. The thugs panic, asking Jin Song if they should turn back for their partner. Jin Song orders them to leave him behind, shocking everyone inside. Yeah, maybe loyal wasn't in their 20 million won contract. The unfortunate lackey lands hard and tries to stand up. Hanjun stands over him, demanding to know where they are headed. The guy jokes around, not taking the situation seriously enough. Park ends the conversation with a skull-crushing punch. He offers the pathetic guy a second chance, but the lackey keeps his mouth shut. Hanjun doesn't stop, punching the information right out of him. Meanwhile, inside their sketchy, isolated building, the remaining thugs are celebrating their victory. Jin Song orders them to hold back on the drinking. Trying to keep control. Mobile sits silent, his face a mask of frustration. He finally speaks, calling the celebration complete BS. He doesn't understand what they're celebrating and questions if they've earned his money yet. What if Park actually finds their crappy hideout? Jin Song understands his client's fear, but doubts Park will appear. He grabs a glass and breaks it, reminding Mogul of a Korean saying about hunting a bear. He corrects the idiom for their situation. They are dealing with a tiger. There is no such thing as a tiger hunting knife. Jin Song grabs Mogul's face, scaring him with the broken glass. He explains that while no knife works, their ancestors used to hunt tigers by overwhelming them, unleashing multiple packs of dogs after them. The tiger loves its personal space, but the dogs torment it until sheer exhaustion takes over and the tiger drops dead. Jin Song plans to use the exact same dirty trick on Hanjun Park. His men will destroy Park's peace and keep driving him crazy until he collapses. Suddenly, the front door of the hideout, a thick slab of iron, begins to dent. The entire gang freezes in terror. Jin Song orders a lackey to check. The guy is annoyed, but as he peeks out, he sees Hanjun Park standing there, dripping with rain and radiating clear killing intent. They are all shocked that he found their hideout so quickly. Their leader, Jin Song, forces himself to chill out. reminding them that Park cannot possibly break through an iron door. A few tense minutes pass. The lackey thinks Park might have gotten scared and left. But then his expression curdles in shock as he sees an arm appear outside the third-floor balcony window. Park jumps in, shattering the glass balcony. Jin Song can barely believe his eyes. It's the kind of entrance that usually only happens when you owe rent to an action movie villain. Park wastes no time. He starts tearing through the gang, beating the thugs one by one. He is single-handedly overpowering the entire group. Park destroys a few men and turns his cold gaze back to teach the rest of the cowering gang a final, painful lesson. Mogul is terrified, but he forces himself to watch, noting that Jin Song, the leader, is still keeping his composure. He remembers how easily these thugs took out Song the gym rat. He desperately hopes Jin Song is hiding some secret move or tactic, believing the gang might still manage to beat Park. Jin Song orders his men to attack. They charge forward with their assorted weapons, but Hanjun remains utterly unfazed. He grabs one thug by the leg and slams him into the nearest wall like a projectile. Another lackey tries to attack from behind, but Park beats him into a pulp and pins him down. The yellow-haired thug breaks his bat over Hanjun's head, thinking he finally did some damage. He quickly realizes his mistake. That blow hurt Park about as much as a mosquito hitting a tank. Hanjun proves him instantly wrong by throwing the thug right out of the third-floor window. The pathetic weakling hits the ground hard. The scene shifts. A biker girl appears out of nowhere and approaches the fallen lackey. His consciousness is fading fast, but the cute girl asks if Park is the one fighting up there. He happily confirms she is right and tries to spout some nonsensical garbage. She simply hits the guy with her helmet and speeds away. The biker girl calls Junu, quickly updating him on Park's situation. Junu sounds concerned, but the girl completely ignores his words, launching into a tangent about some cute purses she saw online. She brazenly demands money for any further information. Junu is annoyed, but he sends the cash to satisfy her demands first. She then gives him Park's precise location inside the apartment building. Back on the third floor, Hanjun stands alone with Jin Song, the only one left standing, besides the completely pulverized mogul lying pathetically. Nearby, Jin Song admits they couldn't do a single thing against Park. He assumes he's been spared because Park needs something from him. Hanjun calls him wrong, grabbing him by the throat. He wanted to save the worst one for last. Jin Song realizes he is utterly done for. He swings his bat desperately, but Park slams him onto the ground. Hanjun begins delivering a brutal, vengeful assault to his face. Suddenly, a boy with tears streaming down his face rushes in and stops Park. He begs, saying it's unfair, that he's an orphan already suffering and can't handle the expenses of the damage. Hanjun hears his desperate complaints, but the orphan starts losing his mind, questioning what he did to deserve all this collateral destruction. Junu finally appears, surveying the horrible mess Hanjun has made. The trembling orphan questions who Junu is, assuming he's the one who ordered this brutal attack. Junu calmly introduces himself and shares that he is willing to pay for all the damage. The crying boy immediately shuts up, demanding 10 million won. Junu makes him absolutely ecstatic by giving him 50 million instead. Still in a pathetic, beaten state, calls Park a literal monster, realizing no human could be that strong. He understands he lost from the moment Park showed up. In a final, desperate move, he tries to save himself by jumping off the building. He almost succeeds, but Hanjun grabs his collar mid-air. Park pulls the screaming man back up, making it clear that the brutal retribution is far from over. Jin Song knows he's about to be killed if he doesn't somehow escape. He pulls a knife, a desperate, pathetic gesture to distract Park. Hanjun lets go. The scumbag falls, crashing to the ground from the third-floor window. He somehow manages to get up, ignoring the severe injuries, and runs away, fueled by a terrifying will to live. Junwoo, watching remotely, observes that this is indeed a strong will. Inside the wreckage, a defeated lackey starts laughing, calling Park dumb. He's just gotten himself stuck in a huge corporate mess, the lackey insists. He reveals the terrible truth. Jin Song's father is Harung, the chairman of PJ Shipping, a genuine shipping behemoth. The lackey is confident the chairman will make both Park and Junwoo vanish into thin air. Junwoo, hearing this, only smiles wickedly, intrigued by the escalation. For a simple school fight, this thing escalated faster than a crypto scam. The scene shifts instantly. Jin Song reaches his house and finds his father, Harung, the chairman, who is concerned about his son's severe injuries. Jin Song requests that his dad eliminate 2 men for him. Harung is dismissive, reminding his son he can't turn back. He advises Jin Song to stand tall and look the person in the eyes, otherwise they won't fulfill his requests. With a terrifying expression, Harung orders him to beg like his life depends on it. Jin-Song submits, begging with raw determination that he wants to see the 2 of them drop dead. The father is finally satisfied and calls his men, ordering them to prepare 2 barrels as he intends to hunt down some young daredevils. The scene shifts again to a remote construction site. Harung finds it pathetic and stupid that he has to involve a literal guerrilla troop of hired thugs in a high school feud. He calls Junwoo cocky and wonders why he wants to die so badly. Junwoo moved forward, cool as ice, and reveals he came here with a plan, asking Harung to guess it. Harung is confused, but his jaw drops instantly as he recognizes the face of Junwoo. Oh, he is terrified. Suddenly, his phone rings. Harung almost weights himself when he learns the massive PJ shipping deal has been instantly canceled by the OJ affiliates, all on Junwoo's personal order. The young tycoon laughs menacingly, realizing his plan worked perfectly. Harung instantly drops to his knees, begging desperately. His men don't understand, but he screams at them to shut up. Junwoo acknowledges that the chairman is finally behaving properly. He orders Harung to get rid of his apes first. The gang of men leaves without wasting a second. Harung continues begging, explaining the deal means everything to him, and his company cannot last without their partnership with OJ. Junwoo doesn't mind fixing the mess, but he wants to avoid getting his company's perfect image destroyed. He's not in the mood to partner up with a gang boss's father, no matter how rich. Harung promises he'll make sure his son never sets foot in Korea again. Jin Song tries to speak up, but his father silences him instantly, punching him in the face and beginning a savage, desperate beating. Junwoo laughs at the sight, but orders the man to stop, saying that is enough. Junwoo believes sending the kid abroad sounds more like a vacation retreat, and he's not satisfied with it. He shares his own idea for proper discipline. Harung, willing to do anything for his company, agrees immediately. Junwoo states that Jin Song's mess cost him 50 million won today, which is a huge sum. He wants the kid to work it off. Harung doubts his spoiled son can ever pay that much money. Junwoo smirks wickedly, recalling that the Harung family business is sea farming. Jin Song sees the smirk, realizes where this is getting at, and finally understands that he is now totally, brutally, doomed to a life of manual labor on a giant, cold ocean. On the rough, unforgiving sea, Jin Song has no other choice. He is stuck on his dad's sea farming boat, surrounded by the cold, vast ocean, working off his 50 million won debt. His punishment is a far cry from the life of a city gang leader. Inside a towering skyscraper, Hanjun Park sits across from Junwoo and confesses he believes Junwoo is becoming more like a villain every day. Junwoo admits he's not playing fair, but advises the protagonist to simply ignore any matter that can be solved with money. He doesn't want Park getting injured for no reason. Park tries to put up a tough act. But the biker girl from yesterday appears and immediately points out the bruises, still visible on his neck. Chunu introduces her. She's their new partner, willing to help bring down Nexus. She is Seo Yan Choi, a local celebrity and influencer who is now acting as an informant for them. So Yan feels deeply embarrassed hearing such a label. She looks at Park, shocked. She assumed he looked like a lumbering trucker after all the stories she heard. She calls Hanjun dapper, but Juno quickly reminds her not to get so close. So Yan gives him a middle finger, snapping back that should take a trucker instead. Chunu suddenly recalls her annoying, stupid behavior the last time they spoke. She ignores his irritation and orders him to talk business. She believes there's no need for a plan. Park can just whoop everyone into shape with ease. Juno reminds her that Nexus has grown too rapidly, and Park alone can't do anything against such a huge, organized army. He declares they must begin by building a powerful combat force. Juno throws a file onto the table, revealing someone might be joining them soon. Hanjun instantly recognizes the high school name. He assumes Juno is talking about Dong-han Kim. Juno confirms it, reminding Park that Dong-han is the same guy who stood against Nexus alongside him 2 years ago. Park remembers something else. Dong-han injured his knee during that first fight, an injury that ruined his entire life and athletic career. Juno, in a moment of unsettling selfishness, makes it clear that despite the injury, he still needs the guy. Park falls silent, but Juno assures him to chill out. They are all professionals. He believes this is a good opportunity for Park to make up with his old friend and clean the Nexus-infested school at the same time. The scene shifts to Dong-han High. Inside, the Nexus gang members are holding a tense meeting. One of them shares the news that Mogul has been sent to juvenile hall. His forced purchases and bullying finally caught up to him. The members laugh at the pathetic scumbag, but one of them believes they should teach the guy who did this a lesson, since Mogul was still their gang's member. The informant continues, sharing that the one responsible for Mogul's demise was Hanjun Park, the high school's #1 fighter. Young-Chol. The presumed leader is shocked to learn this. Remembering the protagonist promised to lay low after the lawsuit. As they are discussing the matter, a student bursts in, out of breath, and announces that Hanjun Park has transferred to their school. The whole gang, including young Call, is stunned into silence. Park didn't just break the rules. He moved the whole battlefield. Inside his new class, the protagonist stands at the front. He looks at his new classmates and introduces himself with chilling clarity. I'm here to destroy everyone. The whole class stares, completely stunned. The teacher quickly laughs it off, waving the comment away as a bad joke, and shows him where he can sit. Park walks towards his seat and sits down next to Jo. Jo immediately leans over, saying he was advised not to mess with Park, but he's getting the urge to fight anyway. He clarifies that he just transferred last year himself and has been hearing about Park ever since. He just wants to see if Park truly lives up to his legendary expectations. Jo requests a fair fight, but Park completely ignores him, already focused on the task at hand. Jo is instantly annoyed. He slaps Park across the face to make his request absolutely clear. Our boy responds without a single wasted movement. Hanjun smashes his head and destroys him in one devastating blow, shocking the entire new class into paralyzed silence.
And that's a wrap for today's recap, but trust me, there's so much more to come. The next chapters are packed with even more twists, and I can't wait to dive into them with you. Comment below if you want part 2. Your thoughts mean everything, and we'll make it happen together. If you're enjoying the journey, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated. We're pouring our heart into every video, improving day by day to give you the best experience. Your support really helps, and a like makes sure this video reaches more people. Let's grow this community together. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.